Russia has always remained an enigmatic country. People live in a harsh climate and overcome the elements, preserving the richness of a language and an unbeatable sense of humor. But today, we turn to the paranormal side of the issue. The vast Russian lands hide many things that will make the hair of scientists around the world stand on end. Although it is believed that the most visited UFO place is the USA, I disagree. More information simply comes from there. You are on the Top Facts channel, and our video compilation will expand your knowledge of discoveries in various parts of the world. It happens that car parts fall off right in the road. But what to do if it's an airship? A fallen part can unexpectedly land in someone's yard. A cylindrical object made of silvery metal the size of a small car was found in a Siberian town. It weighed about 440 pounds and probably fell from the sky. The Russian Space Agency investigated the object and concluded that it had no relation to spacecraft, was made of titanium, and posed no radioactive hazard. However, soon the fragment disappeared and no explanations followed. If it fell from space, shouldn't it have caught fire when passing through the atmosphere? Or not? Let's discuss in the comments. Lake Baikal itself is considered a wonder of the world, but from time to time, something unusual is noticed there. Perhaps the UFO activity in this region sets records across Russia. In 2015, fishermen encountered a mysterious phenomenon. They saw an underwater blue and green glow. This was not the first report of the encounters. For example, in 1982, there was an incident when divers underwater encountered humanoid beings in silvery suits. And naturally, this was not trumpeted in the news. Although the forensic examination confirmed the authenticity of the footage, people still put forth different hypotheses, from glowing animals to submarines. Do not forget that we are not talking about the sea, which communicates with the ocean, but a huge lake that, although very deep, is located in the middle of the land. We cannot deny the attractiveness of this region for extraterrestrial guests, even ordinary tourists called Baikal a place of power. A meteorite fall is always an exciting lottery. Where will it land? The vast expanses of Russia are immense. So when a huge piece of rock from the deep corners of the universe flies towards you at breakneck speed, no one warned you about it. In 2013, there was another loud meteorite invasion on Earth. An object about 66 feet in diameter entered the atmosphere, turning into a bright fireball. Fortunately, this nugget exploded in the air. The explosion power, which is around 1,100,000 pounds of TNT, which is around 20 times the power of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It's a miracle no one died. On that clear morning, no one suspected that they would have witnessed an incident of cosmic proportions. One of the most amazing discoveries in the permafrost of Siberia for archaeologists was the mummy of a frozen mammoth. In 2010, the body of a baby mammoth aged around 39,000 years, named Yuka, was very carefully studied. It turned out that there were wounds from a spear on its body. Probably early humans were involved in this play. The body of the mammoth was almost entirely preserved, with fur and trunk. This is a real treasure for scientists, and if they can restore details of the mammoth's life, then it will shed light on the development of humanity. Mammoth Yuka is not the only find in the permafrost of Siberia. Another interesting discovery was made by archaeologists in the Indigirka River. It was a puppy, around 8,000 years old. The remarkably well-preserved remains present a genetic puzzle for researchers, primarily the DNA. Visually, this dog differs from the breeds we're used to. This is evident thanks to many intact details. You can easily see the nose, whiskers, and milk teeth. All these characteristics are unlike those of modern dogs. The puppy was sent to Sweden for initial DNA sequencing. Scientists wanted to understand whether it was a dog or a wolf. The analysis result revealed that the puppy was an ancient dog breed, but confirmed that dogs and wolves in the past had a common ancestor, and over the years turned into two separate species. This is a grand discovery for the history of dogs, and it has a global significance for the further upbringing of all furry pets. In the wild, there are many animal remains. If natural cleaners have not worked in the forest, a random witness may stumble upon someone's body. As we have already seen, if the terrestrial origin of a creature is in doubt, no one touches it. In 2011, a Russian farmer reported an explosion near a small village. A little later, he discovered a mysterious creature with a strange head, a long neck, and a lizard-like body. Traces on the body indicated a fire. The body looked charred, but structurally resembled wood. It was very hardened. So after this, it's hard not to believe in Baba Yaga. There is nothing similar in the local fauna. Scientific experts initially classified the creature as an unidentified extinct animal, but there was no more information about the explosion. No other witnesses were found. So, if you know something, share it in the comments. Everyone knows what Siberian frosts are, and if people have a chance to escape in houses, how do wild animals survive when the temperature drops of -40? Not all animals hibernate, and finding food in the lifeless forest is difficult, even if the fur has a thick coat. Therefore, sometimes outside the city, you meet such enchanted statues. Frozen hares, wolves, and even bears turn into perfect museum exhibits. This story is about an unusual case with a fox. A man found a frozen animal in an ice cube around it, like a fly in amber. Apparently, the fox was running across thin ice. It cracked, and it could not get out of the icy water. Unfortunately, when the ice continued to break and the strength was running out, there was little chance of rescue. He tried to free the body from the ice trap, but he could not do more. It seems as though the permafrost preserved them like a good freezer. Now let's move on to humanoid creatures that could not be identified. The very beginning of this sounds creepy. In 1996, a woman found an unidentified body, or rather a little body, near a cemetery. A hairless creature with brownish-gray skin, a bare skull, and round eyes around 12 inches long. At first, we think it's probably some child's body or some kind of mutant. The absence of ears and nose raised more questions about its origin. Someone tried to establish a connection between this find and the explosion at Maya chemical plant in the Urals in 1957. Allegedly, it could have been a mass mutation, and the body was found many years later. But as soon as the body was handed over to the Special Commission for investigation, it mysteriously disappeared and was never mentioned again. Likewise, the investigation results were not made public. A few months ago, in a winter Russian forest somewhere in a remote area, people stumbled upon a tiny mummy. It looked like it belonged to an inhabitant to another planet. It had a very small and thin body, a strangely shaped head, and pointy ears. How do such creatures end up in forest thickets? This is indeed a curious story that makes not only scientists think hard, but also your average ordinary viewer. What do you think about it? If we continue the logical reasoning about UFO crashes and assume that the Tunguska meteorite was a fallen flying saucer, it is quite likely that a crew was traveling in it. If they managed to evacuate or just fell out of the ship and didn't survive in the local harsh climate, honestly, I would find it hard to believe. Just look at the crater it created, and you would appreciate the impact force. It's unlikely that bodies could have been preserved in such a crash, but the point is different. Perhaps this was not the first and not the last visit of aliens here, and snow and ice have created a wonderful ability to preserve artifacts for a long time. So, in Amur region, a man was walking in the forest with his dog and stumbled upon a thin body. It was lying in the snow, and the gray-green skin color indicated that it was not from our race. Along with that, some limbs were missing, as if the creature had been in some serious scrape. Hair and facial features were not observed. In short, this unusual creature was exactly how aliens are depicted. What if, indeed, alien landings in this remote area from cities occurred regularly, and this body was not the only one? If it belonged to an earthly creature, wild animals would surely not leave it unattended. Or maybe they tried and just dared not to risk it. A walk along the coast in the Pacific part of Russia made people delve into encyclopedias about marine animals. They found the remains of a mysterious hairy creature on the sandy beaches. Apparently, it used to be a massive monster with a long tail, completely covered with dense fur. Local residents examined the strange body in bewilderment. It convinced them that the carcass was real, not a fake. Could this creature be a prehistoric sea animal, or simply a land animal floated to shore? Perhaps it was washed out of the permafrost somewhere and brought to shore. In any case, let's let the scientists figure it out. This region of Russia is famous for its pine forests. However, a forest lover was in for a surprise. Between the trees, he noticed a large dark figure whose movement resembled, yes, a yeti. Huge gorillas do not inhabit this climate. If it was a giant forester, he would have behaved like a human, or rather walk, not jump. You understand the eyewitnesses did not dare to call out to the creature. Surely he did the right thing. Such a giant could be next to him in 2 jumps. The most logical thing is to assume that this is an animal that belongs in the wilderness. It's best to leave something like this completely alone. This video seemed to have leaked from a secret laboratory. Just like that, a doctor is transporting an alien creature down the corridor. Allegedly, it was filmed accidentally. The smartphone camera turned on and recorded, and the person did not know about it. However, the question is, what kind of creature is this, and what experiment is being conducted on it? Do you believe that this is real footage? Honestly, I thought that people were not allowed into secret facilities with phones. But who knows, maybe this is an exception. How about sharing your thoughts and comments in the section below? It's strange when things worthy of museum halls are found in the wild. This video appeared January 25, 2023, and since then, debates have not ceased about what kind of statue this is. At Elga coal mine in the Republic of Sakha, workers discovered a sculpture of a woman with a sword, shield, and wings on her back. The expression on her half-closed face was restrained and sad, deciding the figure personified a fallen angel. No one knew where the work of art came from. Guesses poured in about an underground city of an ancient civilization or the mystical purpose of the statue. However, no information was obtained. Somehow, they did not think that perhaps it was created by a local craftsman not so long ago, and they just decided to prank the public. What do you think? Discoveries in the permafrost give scientists many chances to study the evolution of the animal world and human civilizations. In 1993, a team of Russian archaeologists discovered an ancient burial site on the Yukok Plateau in the Altai territory dating back to the 5th century BC. Among other mummies, one person interested them most. A woman was buried in a separate tomb filled with ice. This is why she was so well preserved. The burial chamber was open for several days, gradually melting the ice, trying not to harm the contents. It turns out that the person belonged to the upper layers of the prehistoric culture, and the cause of death of the woman at the age of 28 to 30 years was cancer. A tumor was found in her breast after study. Besides the harsh prose of life, this princess became the heroine of local epic tales. She was called Akkadin, which means honest and sincere, and was revered as the guardian of peace. She stood guard at the gate to the underworld, not allowing the penetration of evil from the lower world. Archaeologists call her the Ukok Princess, and she is considered one of the largest, most significant Russian archaeological finds of the late 20th century. During excavations in the Chelyabinsk region near the ruins of the ancient city of Arakame, archaeologists discovered the remains of a woman aged around 2,000 years. The first thing that caught their attention was the unusual, significantly elongated shape of her skull. This made scientists think, what if aliens visited our planet in ancient times? Historians and archaeologists also suggested that she might have been from the Samarchian tribe. The ancient settlement was 4,000 years old, and in this culture, they practiced cranial deformation during life. To give the desired shape, infants' heads were bandaged. This feature was described by Hippocrates, mentioning the people of long heads. But the main mystery lies why it was necessary to elongate the skulls. Let's look at the plot about the very place where the long-headed mummy was found. Arkham is a unique archaeological find in this region of Russia. The ancient city with rational planning was discovered in 1971 during the construction of a reservoir, and excavations were conducted by a group of archaeologists. The fortified settlement of the Bronze Age appeared 4,000 years ago. This extensive city fortress with a clear urban planning idea and complex architecture belonged to the most interesting ancient culture called Country of Cities. Like the Greek polis, each settlement had its infrastructure. The people engaged in cattle breeding and industrial crafts. A rather rare phenomenon for that era, right? Looking at the outline of the city's reconstruction, a similar thought arises. If everything was so well arranged there for a good life, probably people could engage in art and self-development, and not only search for food and fight for land and power. Does it not remind you of the shape of an alien ship? What if things from other planets helped in its reconstruction, and they shaped their heads in resemblance to their extraterrestrial friends? Here is another unusual scene filmed in the Russian skies. A cloud, strikingly resembling a UFO, as if hovering motionless, caused discussions. Is it a natural phenomenon, or a UFO cleverly disguising itself? If the cloud is real, why is it the only one in the clear sky? And how does it manage to have the outlines of a flying saucer in the smallest detail? What do you think about this? From the window of his car, a person saw a strange ring-shaped cloud, which also resembled a huge flying saucer. He decided to shoot it on video because the scene was worthy of a sci-fi movie. The cloud transformed, and this led to the idea that it could serve as camouflage to a giant spaceship. Who knows, maybe aliens have mastered the art of air camouflage. In any case, it's easier to believe that this is a supernatural phenomenon. In August 2020, when the whole world was busy with another global problem, this video appeared. A webcam captured a bright ball that soared vertically upward with incredible acceleration, and naturally it sparked a UFO speculation. Commenters claimed that it was a drone footage which hovered right above the beach. It accelerated and boosted itself. But there is a point arguing that the universe is so big and Earth may not be the only inhabited planet. Let's see and wait for other witnesses. In 2019, a Moscow photographer during a full moon shoot captured a mysterious sight. Around the luminary, like flies, some black dots were grouped. Realists considered them a stream of asteroids, and sci-fi lovers wrote that an alien fleet had gathered there. When astrophotographers calculated that each object's size had to be from 2 to 3 miles wide, they wondered, how is this possible? Because it was 40 times larger than the largest space structure created by humans. The hypothesis about the satellites was refuted. Judging by the trajectory, they did not pass by in orbit, but approached and flew back. This is not typical for a satellite. Could this be the first ever observation of an alien army? What do you think? Write to us in the comments. There are many grand natural wonders in Yakutia, and one of them is the huge Baikal crater. The vast natural anomaly itself looks like a fantastic landscape, but its origin is explained by geologists as the melting of permafrost. This causes the ground to subside and form a gaping hole. In this case of the crater, the diameter of the pit is more than 984 feet, and the depth is around 282 feet. In addition, mystical myths and legends swarm around the crater. Locals consider it the gateway to the underworld. For scientists, the crater represents a unique indicator of climate change over thousands of years. It managed to expose ancient soil for people to see and record the environmental pollution. Melting ice is the result of human activity on the planet, and all climate changes are anthropogenic. The crater continues to grow, as we do not yet know the consequences that it will bring. The main thing is that our planet does not start to resemble a piece of cheese with holes. That's all for today, friends. If you like this episode and want to see something similar, or maybe the next part, then like, comment, and subscribe to the Top Facts channel. This is the best way to support us. Right now, you can click on one of the best episodes right above.